What kind of fear are we actually living under? I've been thinking a lot about fear lately. Not fear as a buzzword, not fear as a moral failure or a virtue, just fear as it actually shows up in human beings. Because we talk about fear like it's one thing, like it's either good or bad, like fear of God explains itself. But it doesn't. Fear isn't a belief, it's a signal system. Its job is to grab attention, narrow focus, and reorder priorities. That's it. Fear doesn't care if it's right, it cares if it works. And that's where things get messy. Some fear keeps you alive. Some fear keeps you small. And some fear pretends it's wisdom. The problem isn't fear. The problem is when we stop asking what kind. There's reflexive fear. That's the fast stuff. The flinch, the jump, the body reacting before you even know why. That fear doesn't ask permission. And honestly, it shouldn't. It keeps you from stepping into traffic. No one's arguing with that. Then there's anticipatory fear. The what if fear. What if I fail? What if I'm wrong? What if this goes badly? This one can be useful. It helps you plan, it helps you learn. But it can also trap you in loops where nothing ever happens, because everything might go wrong. Then there's social fear. This one's big. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being seen as foolish. Fear of saying the wrong thing and getting pushed to the edge of the group. This fear is ancient and it's powerful. It's also one of the easiest fears to exploit. Because if I can make belonging conditional, I don't have to convince you, I just have to scare you. Then there's existential fear. The fear that nothing means anything. The fear that you don't matter. The fear that there's no structure underneath all this. That fear doesn't feel like panic, it feels like emptiness. And people will accept almost any explanation, true or false, if it promises to quiet that feeling. And then there's moral fear. This one's quieter. It's not fear of punishment. It's fear of misalignment. Fear of becoming someone you don't recognize. Fear of doing harm without realizing it. Fear of drifting. This fear can be healthy, but only if it's internal. The moment it's imposed from the outside, it stops being conscience and turns into control. And finally, there's the one that gets mislabeled constantly. Awe. Sacred awe isn't terror. It doesn't shout. It doesn't threaten. It makes you still. It's the moment you realize you're not the center of the universe, and instead of panicking, something in you relaxes. Your ego shrinks to the correct size. That kind of fear doesn't make you obey. It makes you pay attention. Here's the issue. Most systems, religious, political, social, don't care which fear they're using, as long as it produces compliance. Fear collapses nuance. Fear speeds things up. Fear makes people trade discernment for certainty. And when fear gets wrapped in sacred language, it becomes very hard to question without feeling like you're doing something wrong. That's why I'm careful here. I'm not rejecting reverence. I'm rejecting fear as a control mechanism. Because fear that makes you smaller, quieter, and more dependent is not forming you, it's managing you. And that distinction matters. Jesus, at least as I read him, spends very little time threatening people. What he does instead is remove the cosmic threat and then hand responsibility back to the individual. No outsourcing, no constant intervention. No, don't worry, I'll fight all your battles. The field changes, the choice remains, which means fear doesn't disappear, but it has to mature. The question stops being, am I afraid? And becomes, what is this fear doing to me? Is it narrowing my world or sharpening my attention? Is it keeping me obedient or making me more responsible? Is it pushing me toward alignment or pulling me toward safety at all costs? Because if fear is running your life, it's worth knowing which kind has the wheel. I'm still working this out myself. So the question I keep coming back to is this. Which fears have I been calling faith?